Hello, this is a recording for installing VMware ESXi 6.5 on a server node. We are performing this installation in order to review the steps and basically uh, perform further installations on other servers. Currently, this is loading using a standard D-rack connection on a Dell server, and we have mounted the media needed, and currently it is accessing and uploading the media for further installation. So we will follow the steps moving forward and get on with the setup and add it to the existing vSphere environment we have. Uh, just to overview what we have currently in place. This is the infrastructure we are going to build, and this is the server infrastructure we are trying to bring up. All this infrastructure is available, which is the hypervisor 1 and 2, and hypervisor 3 is currently being started to build, and therefore we will continue to build it on our ESXi VMware infrastructure and add it into back to our vCenter and to our domain controller. So let us see. It's still loading, so I will be currently pausing the video. As you can see, we have gone through the server, and you can see the details of the server being also shown, which is enabled with the virtualization VT on the BIOS setup. And this is the model which we are using to bring up the ESXi environment. Currently we have two CPUs with two sockets with 8 cores of each, and 128 GB of RAM. This is what the configuration is trying to look at. For some reason there is a network drop, so let us see if we could log in back. There might be an error, and just to make sure what's going on, we will verify it quickly. Hopefully the media is still connected. So okay, is already used. So let's launch the KVM. So because it was taking heavy traffic, it might be a couple of reasons why it dropped. Because this hypervisor which we are trying to build was CentOS web panel, which we are going to do in our further sessions. Basically we are going to build our DR. This will be our DR node, so we would consider this as all the secondary or the second installs what we have done till now on the production environment will be done on this hypervisor, and probably act as load balancing as well. So right now we are performing this install. Welcome, enter F11 to accept, and it is scanning the devices. Definitely we need it on the SSD drives which are embedded on the system, and we need it wiped out all the way. These are the two SSD drives we have, and the rest are the SATA drives for additional memory, additional disk, sorry. And we are going to go with the first disk. Preference from install perspective, this is definitely disk will be overwritten. Yeah, we had yeah, different things on that, so we can press OK. AUS default. give the password. Definitely I cannot share with you, but it should match, and I think from here this point it will move on faster. uh, n- Repartition, definitely F11 install. So from this point it is installing the ESXi. Preference would be installing on local disk which are RAID 1 configuration. You can definitely have different type of RAIDs as well, but preference would be having the local disk definitely on an SSD with the RAID 1 configuration, and the disk which I had, the additional disk which you have seen in the video, most probably are around 3 terabytes in total. Um, Not a recommended step to have local disk. Definitely, I would recommend NFS disk or iSCSI disk on a network device, which could be much more helpful in the future. And that would be our next steps in our data center build. But for now, since we have a limited clients, and we are looking at less flow of data on our environment, we will be just following the steps we have and the existing infrastructure we have, rather than putting a bulk load of money. So right now it is installing the ESXi 6.5, and we will be pausing the video again to further continue. So the installation is complete. Remove the installation media before rebooting. Since we have to reboot, we will remove the media. So here it is, and we can enter reboot, and this will reboot and bring on the ESXi main page, where we would be assigning the management IPs to this DRAC server. Yes, we do have two network IPs already assigned to this. Already two network ports are assigned to this node of the C6220, and we will be using only one, since one will be acting as our DR or HA, you might say. So uh, let's wait to get this up and running and boot up, and then we can further do the configuration initially here, and then as we can see, uh, mm, we are booting up, and we had a degraded RAID. Definitely, it's not a good thing, but it's a DR node, so we might not worry about it right now. Um, Server node is booting and coming up. I believe the boot options are not right, so we have to wait till it gets to the right boot option, which is the disk. Mm, so server booting, rebooting definitely will have issues. Uh, uh, okay, I think it is trying to boot on CentOS for some reason. CentOS was repartitioned, but somehow it is still detecting the CentOS. So uh, let's add the media. Power cycle the system. So you can see it is completely going to reboot the system. And what we will do this time is that let's try to format the disk, uh, and then go back and reinstall and change the boot configuration. So we need to be a little hands-on on the keyboard, so that we can quickly go to the setup, F2 for the setup, Control S for the setup menu. So the boot order is use boot order. Okay, enabled. Okay. Okay, so PXE. Okay, so let's escape here, and Control I for the drives volume detected. Enter, rebuild. Actually, we have to reset disk to non-RAID, and delete the RAID. Delete the RAID. All disk data will be deleted. That's what we want. So select and Dell. Yes. So now we have all non-RAID disk. So now we will create a RAID, which means now we can create a freshly RAID. Um, Now we can select the RAID level which we want, which is RAID 1, and select the disk which we want. Enter the physical disk, and this, and enter, and enter. Create volume. Yes. And now the status gets normal because we have deleted the data. The data is not needed to be raided anymore. There is no data there. So now we can exit this and go ahead with the install. Yes. And now hopefully we should be able to see the disk boot. Okay, now we have to go again with the steps. Definitely I'm going to pause the video now because we don't want to go through all the steps again till we come back to the screen. Hello guys, we are back. What happened was the server was rebooting, but I definitely wanted to look at the boot manager, which is on an F11 option, and I wanted to see what's going on, why it's not booting up as we wanted. So the default is CD-ROM. As soon as you select a virtual media, it takes a virtual media as a primary one, and the secondary is a network NIC card. So as soon as you come into this, you can change the option, basically what you want the next device to be booted. So in order to change it, you have to select that option and move that to the upper level so that it could be, directly be assigned as the first disk which it should see while booting. And so right now, since we have this option, and we are needing to boot up, right now the order is this, but I think it is not going to allow me, yeah, it's not allowing me to change the order of this. Enter setup, and we are going to the boot order, One thing I wanted to verify was the CPU configuration, which had the virtualization technology enabled. Okay, that's good. Escape, and the boot order of the server. Enter hard disk. Okay, very good. Hard disk is the first to order, so we are good to go, and we should press F10, and yes, we should go. And now hopefully it should boot up to the VMware ESXi host. Since the last time we booted, it was going back to the CentOS configuration, because that was previously installed. But right now we have an ESXi VMware 6.5 OS hypervisor OS installed, which should be the first to boot. And as soon as we see that, it means we are good to go with the rest of the configuration. uh, the server is booting. Let's wait, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will boot up in the best manner, and appropriately in the right operating system of the server. And excuse me of my throat a little bit, off the chart over there. And okay, it's booting. It's booting. Okay. Yeah, we do not install PXE boot, so yeah, I do not have a media server where I will ask the media to be pushed through a network and install using a PXE. I do not have that, so okay. So VMware is loading. Very good. That's what we should see. Initializing memory. Very good. Initializing everything. Boot up. Okay. Root is logged in. Loading successfully, and we should soon see the login page. And then we will set up the management IP and do the next step in the next video. So you should accept you should expect about 10 to 15 minutes of boot time. It doesn't really need to be, but as per my configuration, an older machine, a powered server, definitely you could expect 10 to 15 minutes. The overall install takes about 15 minutes as well. uh, Power boot is the key. Power boot does help, but warm boots also could, you know, expedite the installs. So we will have this running, and yes, we do have it running. My DSCP IP tried to assign the IP address 76, but as per our discussion and our design, we need to assign it to the 41 IP address as a management IP address. So we'll go back and assign that here, and let's press F2. It is asking for the root password, and we will be inside the customize window. um, yeah, there are a couple of things I would like to mention about the lock mode. um, this definitely gets enabled when there is no one. You have tried number of times to access the root password of the server. So we will get back to our configuration. uh, Enter. We have two LAN adapters, but we'll be just configuring one. right here, uh, set static IP addresses, then only it will allow you to do so. And just 41, that's what we want. 41, okay. The rest looks good. Enter OK, and exit. And yes, I would like to restart the management network so that the host is going to affect it, or really takes it. Host name is localhost. I have not assigned any host names as such yet to any of the hypervisors. We might eventually, but right now we are not. So we could test the management network. Okay. 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 It is testing. Okay. Oh, yeah, localhost is failing because we do not have that in the same zone. So right now we are good to go, and this video gets concluded with the ESXi install for 6.5, and we will add this to our vCenter. Thank you.